Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, everyone.
Can you hear me? Thank you so much.
Yes,
Many
Ji.
technical things we have solved now, but thank you for waiting. Can you see the slides? No,
You
no
want me to
problem.
here or there?
Now you can see. Can you see now? Okay.
Yes.
Please mute. Can you see me now?
Yes, Ji.
Yes, sir.
Just
Yes.
raise thumb
Ji.
and please mute yourself. Thank you so much for waiting. Nice to see you all. Happy World Yoga Day, first of all. I believe those who already past morning did something today. If you're not regular, those who didn't do, at least you watch people doing. This is also, you know, good start, at least to be motivated. Okay, let everyone come. So just give me
Namaste, sir.
1-2 minutes to start. Namaste, everyone. Okay. Okay. Those who are not able to join, you can, oh, just a minute. Let me come back. You can still see the screen? Okay.
Yes.
Now maybe no. Okay, now yes. Right? Okay. Thank you so much. Let's start. Namaste, everyone. So the topic which we have today, a beautiful topic, breath of yogis. Some of you, those who have attended this webinar before, for them, they already definitely have a previous memory. Those who didn't attend, new, for them, it will be a new opening. Please mute yourself so that you can focus more with me. Okay.
Happy International Day by Avinash or Yoga Day by Avinash.
Yeah, Avinash, everyone heard you already before you spoke. So, breath of yogis. Okay. When I said breath of yogis, because it's a subject, not only a subject of breathing, there are many things that I'm going to explain you. The scriptural understanding, those who follow me in certain social platforms also know that when I'm explaining something, I'm taking a references a lot from the scriptures. So that also will be here. Why scriptures? Because it gives clarity and authorities that we are uh, not alone. Means all these things are experienced before many times. And these all techniques, the practices are proven, not recently developed. So you can trust. So the subject is deep. I want your attention and no questions, just listen. Today, you just need to listen. Because sometimes when you use the mind to ask questions, it will not come because maybe the answer is on the next slide. So, better just with a calm mind, try to understand the subject because I'm going to explain you what is not a yogic breath. Because when we say the breath of yogis, before understand what is breath of yogis, how yogis breathe, we will try to understand what is not. Okay, so let's close your eyes. Let's begin this session today with one Om with me all together. There are many participants, those who are unable to join, as we have sent the YouTube link also. So there are many, almost more than 1,000 are joining me today now live, half here, then in YouTube. So it's a big gathering. So let's chant Om together. Close eyes. Sit straight. Before you chant Om, feel that you are here not to take another learning, but really to transform. You're sitting in that Gurukulam vibe, that understanding this beautiful subject, the yogic subject, the pranic subject, with few slides. With this feeling, with open mind to receive, let's chant one Om together. Breathe in. Full exhale. Now slowly open your eyes. Namaste again. So many countries, you all are joining. You just write me the country, everyone, and the place. Even if you are in India, you can write here in the chat which place you are joining me and which country you're joining me. So we all can see that we are not just in one place, many places. So it's a big gathering. So those who are watching me in YouTube, you can also write there which country or which place you are in. See how Spain, Navi Mumbai, Noida, Azerbaijan. See how powerful. So this is called yoga, union, right? One of the meaning of yoga is a union. This is what we are celebrating today. We are not celebrating how to do the sequence, which is the protocol, which is given or created by certain agencies. Basically, it's a reminder that we all are one. So today, when we are saying World Yoga Day, it is not about, okay, today I'm practicing a certain sequence in my studio, that many Surya Namaskar, and then we don't focus that actually it's not about this celebration. It's about that unity. That's we all are together, still together. So it's a reminder for that. So when you are writing your country name, the place where you are joining me, it's again the reminder for all of us, those who are watching me and joining me, that we all are still one. And that's why we are learning this subject, the breath of yogis. Okay, let's start. Okay. So when we say breath of yogis, so basically, I'm saying here, what is not the yogic breath? We will start with that. Before knowing what is yogic breath, we will try to understand what is not a yogic breath. So see, this is the subject when we are using a breath of yogis means normally we take yogi's breath, not a simple ordinary breathing. Our breath is a simple ordinary breath. Yogic breath is not ordinary breath. Okay, why? Because our breath is what? Our breath is basically controlled breath. Not what you are controlling in pranayama, not this breathing. This you are training to make breath as a yogic breath. Controlled means controlled by the nature outside. Before understanding the yogic breath, let's understand there are two types of breathing. In Vedic or in yogic subject, we say two names. One is called Vyasti breath in Sanskrit terms. Those who want to take a notes, it's also a good opportunity for you also to take a notes, because I'm going to give you that much where it's like a complete one book. So there are two types of breath. One is called Vyasti and one is called Samasti. This is also called Pran, Vyasti Pran, which is, and another called Samasti Vyan, Pran. So these are the two different pranas. Vyasti means current breathing, basically. It's a yogic term, Vyasti, which means limited. Right now, your breath is limited breath. Right now, your breath is basically, which is just helping you to function in this earth like other creatures. So, right now, our breath is limited. It is only used for basic functioning. Like my lungs can work, my heart can work, the basic functioning, biological functioning. Yogic breath is not that. Because our breath is limited, our breath doesn't have that power. That's why we do kumbhak. Why in pranayam you do kumbhak? Kumbhak means, one of the meaning of kumbhak means power, strength, not only retention. What you are doing in holding. It's a strength. So one of the meaning of kumbhak means strength. Kumbh, gathering. That's why it's called gather, together, collection, union. So these are all the synonyms of this word kumbhak. So vyasti means a limited energy, limited breath. This is what we have. Yogic breath is not a vyasti breath, it's a samasti breath. Samasti means the vast, the big, which is not controlled, which doesn't come under the law of nature, which is beyond that. Is it clear, everyone? Sometimes I'll be asking you to raise the thumb time to time. So when we say my breath is ordinary breath, it means there are many barriers. That's why we have challenge. That's why the nature is not the prakriti. The nature is always becoming a barrier. That's why we have all the challenges. Challenges comes in the life. Why? Not because only we have the previous karmas which are coming. Actually, when the life begin, one strength is given to us, that is a breath. That is the biggest weapon in this life, and that influences the karma also. That clean the karma also. That's why many scriptures on pranayam, if you will read many previous scriptures, not today, not the modern textbooks. Scriptures means the Vedas, the ancient scriptures, especially those who are dedicated to prana or vibrations or soul. Many Upanishads are there. Explain that how your energy, basically your prana, can eradicate, remove, burn the collective samskaras. The power is there. Burn means the effect of these previous karmic account which you have, the effect can be less by mastering the prana. So why it says? Because it says that that prana has that agni which burns this seed of creating the fruit. But for that you have to work. That for that you have to make your ordinary breath into yogic breath. That's why I'm saying yogic breath is unlimited. It becomes samasti, means the vast universal prana, which is in a yogic, the pranic term. In modern books, we say mahaprana. Those who are into yogic path, those who are in studying and practicing from many years, you might heard before called mahaprana. Your individual prana is normal prana, normal energy, bioenergy, you say. But one is called mahaprana, which is basically responsible for every creation, all your manifestation, and which you will manifest, which is already there in the future. It's all managed by mahaprana. So yogic breath is that unlimited mahaprana. So our breath is limited. We have a barriers. That's why we have challenges. But yogic breath is not the same. But breathing goes with the same nose, which you will see with a few slides. I have created a few slides for you, refine them a little bit, because many times when we are studying the scriptures, it is not easy to understand. because the language which is used in scriptures are very deep. You should have that different state of mind. That's why if you see the yoga, it talks about many state, right? Vikshipta state, kshipta state, mudha state. These are the names of the state. Means the fluctuated mind, the focused mind, the dumb state, the many state. So when we read the scriptures, especially which are written in Sanskrit and the deep explanation, that's why we need a guru. Because sometimes the translation doesn't work. Translation means translation. Maybe the logical mind can get this idea, but deeply it doesn't reach till experience. And the scriptures, until you don't experience them, you can't understand. That's why we do regular reading of scriptures. In Sanskrit, we say part. I'm doing part of that scriptures. We don't say I'm reading the scripture. Reading means you read once, that's done. But when we say in Sanskrit, we say I'm doing part, means I'm repeating again and again. So with repetition, through the vibration, it goes to your experience, and then you realize. We realize the scriptures. We don't understand it actually. We realize this. That's why we study the scriptures, not to understand, to realize. Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Sutra, you're not reading to understand what is written in Yoga Sutra. It's limited. Understanding is limited. You are reading the Yoga Sutra, or you are reading any scriptures based on yoga or any Advaita because you want to realize. Until you don't realize, you keep repeating it. Maybe you read with one teacher, other, and keep on. You understand, everyone? So next time when you study the scripture, not to understand, or sometimes when you say, oh, I have read this Yoga Sutra, it's not, did you realize this? No. Then it means you need to repeat, because the scripture was not made for reading. It was made for realized. That's why repetition is required. Same thing you do in asana practice and pranayam. Sometimes imagine, I will tell you from my one video, you understood Kapalbhati. You understood this. But your body realized this? Your body got this essence from this practice? Not yet. That's why you are repeating every morning, you are doing it. Otherwise, why you are doing every morning the same practice? Why every morning you are doing sun salutation? Because your body didn't realize yet fully. That's why once it's realized, you don't need sun salutation again. You don't need the same pranayam again. That's why repetition is required. Is it clear, everyone? You understand what I'm saying? So you are studying to realize. You are practicing to realize. You're not practicing to understand. Otherwise, you have done lots of yoga from 20 years, many of you from 20 years. Why are you repeating again and again? Something inside you saying that actually it's not enough, because every day you're changing. There's another realization. It didn't come yet. But once you realize, actually everything will be seized. So this is how we are moving forward. This is a few parts that we are going through. First, we'll try to understand. Oh, yes, not all breath is prana. See? When I'm saying not all breath is prana, it means what I explained to you. Not every inhalation is the breathing. Not every breathing is a pranic breath. Not every inhale gives you energy. Some inhalation, some exhalation takes the energy away from you. So when we are saying that, oh, inhale deep, I have written in next slide. Today, what we say, someone is tensed, we say, okay, breathe deep, you'll be fine. But it's not true. So you will see this. So few parts we'll be trying to understand that. First part, you are learning your breath, current state, your current state. The second part, we try to understand yogic breath, which basically the main subject is. Then we try to understand how to move from your ordinary breath to the yogic breath. So these are the three parts that I have made this kind of whole webinar on it. The first part is basically the limitation, like where you stuck, what is making you not to move forward. The another part is the what exactly you should reach, where exactly you should reach, and then how, the techniques, how to move forward. Few things here, see. So you can read if you are here with me. Slide is clear, I guess, right? So see, let's go one by one with me. I try to put everything in written for you so that you can also get this idea. Currently, your breath is air. When we say I'm breathing, what we do, we breathe air. Yogic breath, yogis, they breathe what? They breathe awareness into prana. You are inhaling and exhaling. Even in pranayam, what we do? What comes in the mind when you say, I have done my pranayam practice today? If you see, if that comes, oh, I did that many breathing exercise today, today, if I ask you every morning, okay, you did pranayam today. What comes in the mind? If someone asks, oh, today you did pranayam, you say, yeah, I did pranayam. What comes in the mind? Oh, I did this technique. I did that technique. It means the practice of pranayam didn't reach to pranic practice. It is still air breathing work, breath work, which in the West we say, I'm doing breath work. So you did breath work. The day when after practicing pranayam, you can say that, oh, today I really did pranayam, and the breathing doesn't come in your mind, the techniques of kapalbhati, the techniques of holding the air doesn't, this subject is not even there, it means that day the real pranayam starts. I believe you understanding me. You understand? Right now you did every day you're doing let's say more, let's understand it easier. Every day you do asana, right? Those who are, and many of you yoga teacher here, every day you do your practice, and then later you say, oh, today I did practice. What comes in your mind? Oh, today you did trikonasana. You feel the stretch because physically you felt, physical sensations are still there after doing asana. This physical sensation tells you that you are still in a physical body. It means you are still did vyayam. You are doing vyayam, which is called exercise. In Hindi we have a word for that, vyayam. It's not an asana, it's an exercise. But asana means when your physical sensation, you go beyond this physical sensations. Same thing here. When someone asks you today which pranayam you did, then you are explaining them. Oh, actually today I did kapalbhati. What? Forceful breathing. See, you are still using the practice of pranayam for explanation. You have to say air. You worked with air, force air, maybe controlled air. It means you are still in the breathing system. Difficult right now. So see, so you breathe air. So even you're practicing pranayam for many, many years, but you are still breathing air. Your breath ends at the lungs. For you, it's a biological process. That's our breathing right now. For us, our ordinary breath reaches to lungs, that's it. That's why if you see in the modern world, when we say breath work, we try to use our whole lungs. Even in today's modern world, when we teach someone, the breathing, the pranayam, what we say, utilize your lungs, use the whole capacity of the lungs. So basically for us, even the pranayam is about more about strengthening the lungs. So it means it's still a limited. Your breath is, yeah. Currently our breath is triggered and driven by the habit, emotions, and can trigger the emotion. Right now, how your breathing is going on. Right now, your system is very calm because you're hearing me. You know that something you will get from here. And because your state and maybe the outer environment is kind of, favorable to you, your breath is settled. But suddenly imagine while you are watching me, the outer events will change. So, for example, the snake will appear in front of you. So, outer event changed. What will happen to the breath? The breath will change. So basically, right now, right? Is it true? Right? See. So, for example, your parents, your son, or someone will call you. The outer events will change. So, what will change? The breathing will change. Suddenly, it's different because outer event will trigger your current state. From ekagra state, you go to vikshipta state. So here you need to understand the states of the mind, which Maharishi Patanjali explains, the 5 types of state. So from ekagra, chitta, you go to which chitta? Vikshipta, means scattered, fluctuated. You'll be disturbed. And because of that, the breath will change now. So basically, right now, your breath is triggered and driven. But those who are regular in breathing exercise, they can control that. But their breath will be still by the habit. See, here I said emotions means outer circumstances, outer situation will trigger the emotions, your breath will change. If you can control that, because some of you are maybe strong, regular, maybe doing Nadi Shodhan, strong, because you have done lots of kumbhak. But then the habit. Why? Because the previous all accumulated kind of experiences through the same kind of situations, there's an inner habit. that inner habit will start telling your breath to change. So sometimes maybe you can control for a little bit period of time, but not for longer. That's why I wrote here habits also. Or can trigger the emotions. Is it clear, everyone? You understand? So it means still your breath is not a yogic breath. Yogi's breath transforms the emotions to purpose. Right now, our emotions are doing what? Our emotions are leading us to sorrow or to bind us. Every of our emotions leads to what? If it is negative, gives us sorrow, dukkha. If it is positive, gives us something else, the pleasure, which binds us. So actually, our breath is not leading us to the real purpose, but the yogic breath leads to real purpose. Later, you will understand what is this real purpose. For example, if I ask you one question, what is the difference between our breath and animal's breath? They also, for example, let's say the dog breathing. Easy to understand. What is the difference between dog breathing and our breathing? Few differences maybe we can say. Okay, his breath is faster than mine, but he also breathes the same unconscious, and I also most of the time. Maybe sometime because we have viveka. We have a viveka, intellect. So maybe some days, maybe sometimes when I'm focusing on my breathing, my breath is not the same as a dog breath. But imagine I'm asking this question when I'm unconscious, when you are not very conscious about the breathing. What is the difference between dog breathing and our breathing? Think this. Actually, there's not much difference because only the difference is when we are thinking of the breath. He can't think of his breathing when you will tell him, think of his breath. But we can. So the moment we think of our breathing, everything shifts. But if we don't, it's the same. All other creatures same. Just maybe the patterns sometimes different. Maybe he's fast in 1 minute, maybe he's 16. Maybe 1 minute you are 12. Actually, here sometimes because I've been teaching this subject for many years, I've seen many people breathing in 1 minute also 20. See? And many time even if you will see when you are in certain emotion, fear, have you checked your breathing? In 1 minute, check next time. You will find that actually it goes to about 20. To trigger the emotions of fear, your breath has to be fast. It is a natural law. It has to be fast to trigger this kind of emotions. So what is the difference there between his breath and our breath? There's no much difference. That's why there's no much difference between his state of mind at that time at deeper level and our state of mind. So here that needs to be changed. Your breath is Mahabhuta. Right now, our breath is, that's why our breath called air, Vata. Our breath is air. We are breathing air. Yogis, they don't breathe air. They don't see their breathing as air. Right now, if I ask you, everyone, what is your breath? Maybe some of us, those who are the science student, I'm too. So we will say, actually, we take oxygen. Or air is air element, more maybe the Vedic side, more scriptural side, the Vayu element. If we talk about elemental way, the Vayu, the air. But it is under Mahabhutas, the Panch. Mahabhutas, just a minute. The elements, it's also a part of elements. But here, if you see, just a minute, I wrote here one Upanishad explanation. This Swas Pranasya Pranasya Vahanam. Swasa Pranasya Vahanam. Vahan means the vehicle. Swas, the breath, is a vehicle of what? Of prana. Pranasya vehicle. Swasa Pranasya Vahanam. Right now, your breath is a vehicle of prana. Basically, the prana needs something to travel. In the beginning, that's why we do pranayam. You do pranayam because you need to put the prana on a certain gross, you need gross medium to flow in the beginning to experience. Later, you don't need even this medium. It flows naturally. Yogic breath flows with the Shakti, which I explained to you, Mahaprana. Here, Mahabhutas, it's controlled air. Our breath is limited to air. That's it. Your lungs, sometimes this question comes when in a yoga class, someone asks us, before many times this question was made during the yoga class, when we are saying, okay, deep breath. Imagine you are breathing through the navel. Sometimes such kind of instructions in the class, yoga class, even in asana, we say, breathe that from the navel. But imagine, biologically, is it possible to breathe through the navel? Lungs are responsible for breathing, right? But still, why this phrase are used in many yoga class? Sometimes people are confused. Even yoga teachers are confused actually why it's like this. Why it's like this? Why breathe from navel? Then we try. Actually, there's a system how much to try. Sometimes we are making our natural breath disturb by regularly practicing belly breathing. Many people, they got stomach pain by regularly practicing belly breathing because we took this statement very serious. Many people take the statement very serious. Breathe from the belly. So for them, actually, it is possible to breathe from the belly. Breathe from the belly doesn't mean that you have to use the stomach to breathe. And people try to breathe from the belly, and their inner system disturbs. Sometimes in pranayam, uh, we need to understand when we say breathe from the belly doesn't mean that you have to use your entire focus only there to the stomach to push it that much out where you feel discomfort. You get stomach pain with that. Breathe from the belly means that much we are trying to touch the pranic work. When we usually breathe right now, we don't use the whole lungs. Natural breathing is not a whole lungs. If you see your breathing, it's very short. We don't try to use the whole lungs in a breathing in pranayam. Actually, you can't breathe with the whole lungs. Not possible. You have to become very conscious about it. You can slow down the breath. You can extend the timing. When I am saying the difference, if I tell you now in this slide, what is the difference between the ordinary breath and the yogic breath is, and what is common? Common thing can be one. Maybe yogis breath also not the whole lungs use, and your breath also not the same. But the difference is what? Difference in between the timing. That's slow. His one inhalation can be that slow, which takes a longer time to do. Maybe our breath can be that fast, which goes very quick. But the body physically, if you see, it can be same. That's why Krishna asked in Bhagavad Gita to Arjun how to understand who is a yogi, who is not yogi. What is, you know, how he behave, how he walk, how he breathe, how he talk. This is the question was asked by Arjun. Those who are unmute, please mute yourself. So this question was asked. So Krishna is saying, you can't. Because to understand, you have to become. It's the same like you are climbing the mountain, and once you are in the bottom of the mountain, and want to, is asking to your friend, how does it feel to reach there? You can't feel anything. You need to reach there to feel something, right? So those who are not mute, please mute everyone.
Sir, I want to say something. Can I say something?
No, not right now. This is not to say, this is to listen. Not today, later. Maybe you can write. So this is first, okay? So now another statement I wrote here. Anyuntar Atma Pranamayaha. There's no another inner self made of prana. These are the few statements that I wrote for you to
Sir, I
understand. If
suffer
prana,
from Zen sickness. Hello, sir.
this, hello, please unmute yourself, please. If prana were merely see this statement we needs to read here. If prana were merely oxygen or breathe, it would not be described as an entire. So right now, when we say the yogic breath and the ordinary breath, there's a one difference is our existence depend on the current breathing, the oxygen, basically. If we stop breathing, things will change. The inner functions will change. The body may not survive. Maybe those who are regularly
Sorry, sir.
practicing
Can I
breathing
just speak for 1
exercise,
minute?
that can make body to extend this life for longer. But if not, just a minute. Just a minute. Yes. But if we don't practice any breathing exercise, it may not survive. But the yogic breath is not the same. For him, the current ordinary breathing, which is air flow, no more required. That's why you have maybe heard many times the yogis live in Himalayas or some other places for longer period of time in one pose, in one, in samadhi. What happens in samadhi? That happens in samadhi when the prana is no more, the body is no more dependent on air, but now surviving or sustained by the pranic flow. So this is what the major difference here between the ordinary breath and the yogic breathing. Is it clear, everyone? You understand? Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear? Yeah. Yeah, because my screen sometimes. Okay. Now see, little more explanation. Your breath moved by nature. Yogic breath yogic breath move nature itself. See this two statement I wrote here. Currently, our breathing is moved by nature, like I gave you the example before. If outer events are changing, our breath changes. If there's a cold, it's a different breathing. I noticed many times. If there's a hot outside, it's a different breathing. If there's a rain, also different breathing. Sun, moon, different breathing. Outer events, outer nature, when the nature will change, breathing will change. And yogi's breath is what? Which move the nature itself, which change the nature itself. Because, like I said before, that yogic breath means basically it has a power to change his own current karmic system, but in a different level. That's why there's a one sutra in pranayam we use a lot, and I use a lot, which says pranayama patakam. There's a very deep statement of pranayam when we say pranayamin patakam. Patakam means the prana, when it expands through the practice of regular pranayam, it burn those seed which not yet developed or gave the fruit, which is almost giving the fruit, all the karma. It can make those seeds so weaker so that the fruit will not be generated. So that power the breathing or the prana has, if our ordinary breath can become a yogic breath, which is the pranic breath. So here I wrote more in detail, controlled by the nature, which is not alive. That's why we are not in a state. Sometimes when we are sleeping, we don't even know which breathing we are having. All senses are under the control of nature, triggered by desire. See, our breath currently enters the lungs, nourishes the body. These all things we have. Even with the practice of regular pranayam, we are still here. Enters the lungs, nourishes the body, maybe better nourishment if the breath is maybe under a certain number. In medical science, what we say, usually when the breath is above 12, it means the physical body is not in a good condition. If it under 12, this is the common statement. Okay. So if it is under 12, it means your breathing is okay. Like we were checking our breath in the time when the COVID was. You remember how everyone was very much aware of breathing, and then we were checking our breath many times there in the many places, that how in 1 minute I'm breathing, how much I'm breathing, how much I'm holding. Everyone was very much aware that time, and everyone start breathing exercises with those time. But still, if you are regular to such kind of just a minute. Can you see the slide? Okay. Okay. So, yeah, just a minute. Yes. So if you are regular pranayama practitioner or the asana practitioner, meditation practitioners, maybe your breath can be controlled a little bit, which can nourish the body and its organs good way. But it will be still follows the law of nature and governed by the nature. Like I said, outer things will change, it will change our breathing. But still, it will be controlled. It cannot go beyond that. That's why our experiences are will under these outer events cannot go beyond that. But the yogic breath is move with universe. It is alive means now you're not limited to this existence. When we say yogic breath, when we say pranic breath, it means now your experiences are not just under the nature. It goes a little bit beyond that. A yogi learn to participate in the very force that governs the nature, like mahaprana means whatever is happening in universe, the experience you will have, that's the same experience happens in samadhi when the prana is not limited to this body. Right now, our why we say our individual breath, because our prana is limited, because it's the breath is poor. To make that poor breath to a pranic breath or a yogic breath, there's a system, that system called pranayama. Pranayama is not a state itself, it's a system, it's a process which leads your normal breathing to that breath which takes your consciousness to that dimension to experience a certain state which we call samadhi in yoga. Okay, so now a little bit further, can you see? Just give me. Okay. Oh, sorry. Just a minute. Let me share with you again. Now, can you see? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now see. Currently, our breath is this: air enters, leaves the body. That is limited, confined to the body, governed by the instinct. This is whatever it's written here. Now try to imagine which is going on right now with us. Respond to the world, obey biological laws. For example, in pranayama, what we teach first? We teach first a crocodile pose. When someone learn the pranayama, or the breathing is not, the body is not very much responsive to the pranic practices such as the deep breathing or other exercise in pranayama, we teach them first how to correct the function, the lungs functioning. So we teach them, that's the first learning also. And especially here, those who are having difficulties in the breathing, this is the first that you need to start doing, the crocodile pose. Crocodile pose teaches us how the poor breath can become a strong breathing. Because now, normal breathing means if you change the posture, right now you are sitting straight, it's a different breathing. You will notice that the breathing is a little deeper. If you sit curved spine, you will see it's a different. Even this experiment you can do even now. For example, asana practice. When you do backward bending, it's a different breath, heavy more. When you do forward bend, it's a different breath. When we do side bend, it's a different breath. Every physical change, the breath will change. And because of that, when we are practicing asana, we tell people, okay, when you are doing backward bending, use the maybe upper lungs more. When you do forward bending, use the lower lungs more. Use the belly expansion more. Sideways. That's why we have all the five pranas breathing: Vyana Vayu, Samana Vayu, the Prana Vayu, Apana Vayu. Because we are teaching at that time, every different position, it's a different work. For example, if you do Paschimottanasana, many times we don't even know which part of the body we need to use when we do Paschimottanasana, when we do side bending Trikonasana, when we do backward bending Dhanurasana, let's say. Just I'm giving you the extra information for that. For example, when you do Paschimottanasana, Your breath is not forward and backward right now. For example, when you are sitting, right now you are sitting and watching me, listening me. If your spine is straight and if you notice your breathing, you will notice your belly goes forward and backward. Just try to see that. It goes front, back. Sometimes it can go up, down. This is right now is happening with you. Is it clear? Got it, everyone? This is what is happening if you notice. But if I ask you to curve your spine, squeeze yourself, you can try with me now. Squeeze yourself, make round spine, and now start breathing. You will notice that your breath shifted, and now you can feel your lungs more because there's no space with your stomach. You're squeezed. And this is what we are doing most of the time in asana. And because we are doing unconsciously most of the time, because we are only conscious about our physical posture when we do asana, even those who are doing asana for many, many years, even they are also not aware most of the time. When you are traveling, sitting on bus, on a car, how much we are aware our position, not aware. And because you are not aware and your breath is not the yogic breath, the outer, as I said, the outer events means now the physical body changes, the prana will change, the whole system will change. But when you had a proper yogic breath, even the outer posture will change, but the prana will not be scattered. It will remain same. Right now, when we do that's why we teach Paschimottanasana. Now learn how the breathing should be. It has to be more sideways. For example, when you are doing Balasana, now forward and backward. These are the postures. Every posture is different breathing. You do backward bending, how it has to be. The chest breathing sideways, not front and back. When you do Matsyasana, now forward and backward. See the different the postures and different breathing. You are trying to move the attention and the breathing in different areas when you perform the asana. Not every asana you are doing same breathing. If you do a different breathing in a different asana, that's the first step for that's why asana comes first before pranayama. Not because you have to train only the body, because you have to train the whole pranic body, the vayus. Is it clear for everyone? You understand what I'm saying? Today, we practice asana for what? What is our goal? Our goal is, oh, I want to become flexible. Or I want to just learn some poses so I can sit straight for longer period of time. Maybe these are the few goals. But the goal is why it was first, then the pranayam, because it's not about that. It's about you learn. You really first master your gross form of prana, which is a breath. Make this poor breath at least a strong breathing, which in Yoga Sutra also explained what is the requirement of your prana, means pranic breath. How you will be ready to do pranayam. The breath should be sukshma and deep. That's the quality of breathing, means longer and quiet. And that is only possible when you will allow your breath to shift in different poses. That's why we are doing poses. Paschimottanasana, it goes deeper down. The breathing is different. It moves more belly sideways, which is called samana vayu breathing. Balasana is different. Trikonasana, when you are in the side bending, not every side bending. Trikonasana, when you are straight side bending, side extension, when the upper spine and the lower, the side trunk, both are same, parallel to each other. When you do simple standing side bending, it's different because one lungs you compressed, one side you compressed, one side you open, right? It's a different. When you do trikonasana, it's a different. It's not compressed, and now it's straight. Is it clear? You understand? Can you imagine while you're listening to me? When you do a trikonasana, triangle pose, if you see the structure of the spine, why every teacher will tell you, trikonasana, your upper trunk and lower, it has to be like this, parallel to each other. But when you do triyak tadasana, like a standing bend to the side, it's a different bending, it's a different breathing. Both are side bending, but because the structure is different, the breath changes. So, and those who don't understand remains stuck with the physical. Oh, I feel very good stretch here. That's why we just feel the stretch. We don't feel the pranic flow there. And that's the goal of asana. Why asana comes for? Why asana called the foundation of pranayam? Pranayam is considered as the foundation of dharana. Dharana, because pranayam is the step of dharana. asana is a step of pranayama. Just because it gives you stability? No, it's beyond that. It gives you understanding of the pranic flow, every asana. That's why before it was only three asanas. Padmasana, which is lotus pose, or Siddhasana, Siddha pose, or then it was this Vajrasana. So these three poses, why? Because every pose, it's a different flow of prana because the posture is changing. Siddhasana, it's more Mooladhara pressure. Padmasana, Swadhisthana pressure. It's a different flow. Vajrasana, it's a different flow. But in and now, because many asanas, it's a good opportunity for us to understand the flow of energy with the flow of breathing. So from today only, those who are practicing regular asana, instead of feeling the physical stretch, go a little bit beyond that. Go a little bit with start with the breathing, how you're breathing, and maybe start learning how to breathe in different.
There is no sound.
Can you see me? Just raise a thumb. Okay, come back. Sometimes possible. Okay, now see there's a slide. Slide you can see, right? Everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, just raise a thumb. Okay, so see here. Modern myth is just a minute. I will give you time to ask a question later, okay? So right now we think we breathe deep, like in pranayam, and we'll be fine. This is what we think. That's why most of the pranayama means just to breathe deep. In asana also we use this phrase, breathing deeply. Right now our breath is reaction. Every reaction is a leakage. See here. You know why our breath is a poor breathing? Why it's not becoming a yogic breath, the pranic breath? Because right now, every breath is a reaction. Means, like I said before, when outer things changes, here I wrote here, see? The breath follow the events. Yogic breath precedes events. It flows before the events. You become aware before something happens. Anger come, right now fear comes, breath changes in us. Right now, thoughts will come, the breath will change. Memory, it will change. And right now, phone will ring, breath will change. Everything outer breath will change. Because it's driven by stimulus, nervous reflex, and habit, like we are regularly following the same habit. So, what happens when the yogis are breathing? His pranic breath is what? Means before the anger come, breath gives the signal something is going to come which has a strong force. Manage this. Right now it's opposite with us. How we that's why we are saying people, okay, breathe deep. Emotions came, breath changes, we tell them breathe deep so you can manage the emotions. Is it clear, everyone? Understand what I'm saying? You got it? Just raise a thumb, please, like this. Right now, when we get angry, when we get sad, so we tell people, okay, that's why this question comes. Okay, I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling all the time, angry. What breathing I should do? We use the breath as a tool to manage our emotions, which is completely fine right now. It has to be like this. You should have to start like this only. But when your breath, because it's limited right now, but when you will work on ordinary breathing with a certain practices, that's why we have pranayam. In a pranayam practices, this question will not even come. Because before any emotions arise, the breath will give the signal that something is going to change. So right now, emotions comes, fear comes, it changes. Later, it's opposite. There's a one statement in Hatha Yoga. There's a one statement in Hatha Yoga, we say, the sutra of pranayam, chale vata chale chittam. There's a one sutra in pranayam, chale vata chale chittam. Chitta means the mind flows when vata will flow, means the vayu, the air, or in more deeper language, the pranic language, when the prana flows, or where the prana flows, chitta, the mind flows. So this sutra is given, it is placed there to explain that yogic breath is what? Means when before mind is moving, before any thought comes in your memory, anything comes in the mind, before that there's a little period of time, through the breath, you can understand what is going to come, basically, or you can manage what needs to come. So, through the breath, you can master also the emotions, but also which thought needs to come in your mind. Right now, randomly it comes, no? Right now, in a dreams, do you have control on the dreams? No. You just sleep. We sleep and we allow everything to come. And who will decide which thought needs to come? Your previous strong habits, previous experiences, which had a strong trigger in you, means where you were very much involved, maybe suppressed emotions. So they all become together as a certain, pictures or events which cannot come when we are conscious, because there's a fear, it doesn't allow them to come. So they come when we are fully unconscious, then we enjoy there. That's why sometimes certain dreams are, you're flying on the sky. Maybe some, suppressed emotions or the dreams were there. So in that space, the dreaming state, there's no control. You can create anything. And inside we know. That's why we are creating everything. Sometimes some people, they themselves become certain animals. There was one person used to come to me. I was in, Rishikesh. He was teaching. I was teaching and he used to come all the time. Prashantji, all the time I see one dream regularly. I said, what? Every time in a dream I become snake. So what to answer? Every dream I become snake. Then I had to ask him after a few, because few times he came to me. So did you, hit someone? Like, did you bite someone? No. So I become snake. And then I asked, what do you do by becoming snake? He said, I move around. I sometimes fly or sometimes this, that. So see, which kind of dreams? Because that time in that state, there's no limitation. You can create anything. So this means right now that chitta is not very much mastered. Right now, there's no control, because there's no control on your own breathing. That much the breath is poor. That's why we learn in the pranayam fasting to control. And that's also became later the meaning. Pranayam meaning is control the breath. Right? If you see the pranayam, the meaning of pranayam, yam, it means control. That's why to control these thoughts so that they will not come, and whenever you want they should come, you will first learn control the breathing. And that's the first step to make your weaker breathing to the pranic breath, to the yogic breath. Means you first learn how to control that. So and then it becomes, once you are controlling pranayam, then it becomes pranayam. Now you can expand it. First you control. Sometimes we that's a debate today's time. Someone is saying the pranayam means prana plus ayama. Sometimes we say prana ayama means the expansion of prana, expansion of your life force. That's the one of the meaning of pranayam. Some says control of the prana. Different textbook explains, and different practitioners and the teachers explain different way. Some says control the prana, some says expansion of prana. Where the link? Controlling also there. When it comes to action, when it comes to do something effortfully, you're working for mind, you're working for your own breath, your own vyasti prana, which I explained before, your own prana. Control explanation work there. Is it clear, everyone? You understand what I'm saying? So we work with the control. So that's why there we say I'm doing prana yama. Yama means control. That's why you have this yam, niyam, asan. They're also control. You control what to speak. You control what you think. So there's a control. That's why you are doing lots of breathing exercise until you reach where you don't need all the techniques to control the breath. It becomes real prana ayama, expansion of prana. You reach that state. So there are two types of meaning when it comes to the technique. Yam, prana yama, means you are working for control. That's why all the techniques comes under that control. Okay, slow breathing, fast breathing, controlled breathing, kumbhak breathing, many breathing. But once you go ayama state, where the expansion happens, there's no effort required. It goes effortless. So right now, until you are learning how to breathe in deep, breathe out deep, you are doing efforts physically. It means you are still under the yama state, learning how to control the thoughts, control the breathing, and through that you control the life force. But once yogic breath means what? Which doesn't work this way. It goes beyond that. There's no control. There's no need of breathing deep. There's no need of air to take the prana. There's no vehicle required. It's just it flows. It just flows like this. So for example, right now, if I say the river the river flow doesn't need the canal to reach the ocean. It finds its own flow. This is how the yogic breath becomes later. Means the flow which is going on right now in you doesn't require any kind of deeper inhalation. So when we say deep inhale, you'll be fine, it means right now in this body you will be fine. But at deeper level, still, sometimes the events will be strong, again triggered. That's why we need to see how to start the practice of pranayam, not by just deeper breathing. It's a different system, which I will explain later to you. So this is a little bit reaction. I wrote here, reaction is unconscious movement caused by external trigger, and this reaction change your breathing. Okay, now see a little bit why you have reactory breathing, why reactions comes. Right now, nervous system is breathing us. Awareness is not yet breathing us. Right now, if you see all explanation what I gave you, why our breath is poor. The reason is because most of the time we are in the sympathetic nervous system state. All the time we are reactory state. See your whole day. If you check your whole day, most of the action we do are driven by what? If you calculate every day, maybe every night you go to bed, before that you check, you meditate and see what you did whole day. And when you see what you did whole day, see how you did these actions, means how they came, how you were doing these actions. We will be surprised, most of our actions are reactory actions, means we react most of the time. Even any decision, it's, for example, let's say very simple example. When you drink the water, for example, when you drink the water, you drink the water when you feel thirsty, right? When you feel that I'm thirsty, we drink the water. So body has to reach a certain, that level where it says that now you cannot survive. Now we drink. We don't understand actually that before it reaches to that state where the body has to give me signals again and again, the lips are dry, the tongue is dry, now you drink the water, or body is feeling heat, then we drink the water. That's why we gulp, we drink not sip by sip, which Ayurveda explains. Ayurveda says don't wait for that trigger. When your body asks for your water, before that you should give the water. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? Before your body asks to drink the water, you should already give. That's why it's called, the body will be hydrated. Sometimes when those who are drinking the water, after, when the body asks that much advance, okay, now tongue is dry, the lips are dry, or you feel strong thirsty, then you drink the water, you will be still dehydrated, because that water, that's why we go to toilet again and again. There's no time for this water to absorb. You need to go sip by sip, time to time, like this. So right now, if you see most of the action, this is just one example. Usually it should be before your tongue gets dry, before your lips gets dry, you should give this water to the body to feel that complete. But it's not. We have to wait for that trigger. We have to wait that body will react, and then I will do certain actions. Most of our action during the day, it's like this. Someone says something, it triggered us, and then we react. So the action came. So suddenly I remember something, then I will do something. It's not smooth. So all the actions which we see, it is basically the reactory things. And because of that, our breath is always poor. We always stay in sympathetic nervous system state. And our breath always follows these events. That's why it's like this. And that's the reason why first technique of pranayam we teach what? Do you know what is the first technique in pranayam? If you want to make your breath to powerful yogic breath, the first technique comes exhalation types of breathing. That's why later in Hatha Yoga, Kapalbhati comes first, or any technique which has exhale comes first, not inhale. Usually we think pranayama means deep inhalation. Like I said here, you do inhale deep, you feel better. It has to be opposite. You first learn how to exhale first, then you feel better, because you first need to go to that state when where you can touch this pranic body. Right now we don't touch the pranic body with inhalation. Inhalation means still you are in that physical outer world. Exhalation takes you to the inner world to touch that state. That's why before the techniques start, one sutra says, Pracharadan vidharanabhyam va pranasya, means, or sattvic state of mind is required to touch the pranic body. If you want to experience the energy body, you should have that state developed where you can feel that. So here, exhalation types of techniques comes first, and which exhalation? Not forceful exhalation, which we do right now in Kapalbhati. Longer exhalation, smooth exhalation. And then there is a system, how you train your body with that. So every time when you start your any kind of pranayam practice, meditation practice, or concentration dharana practice, begin with exhalation, longer techniques, and then start the inhalation. Even in Nadi Shodhan, you know, today, if you teach someone, or maybe you yourself, when you practice this technique, Nadi Shodhan, one side inhale, or Anulom Vilom, let's say, inhale and exhale, right? We do. Everyone knows this technique. In yoga, we say Anulom Vilom, Nadi Shodhan. If I ask you now, or if I would ask you before, that now do everyone Nadi Shodhan Pranayam, what would you do first? Definitely many of you would do, you close the nostril, you would inhale from one nose and exhale from other. This is what you would do. It has to be opposite. First, you exhale from the nostril which is open. Remove emptiness. Emptiness, the space, that quietness comes first. Because that will bring you to the state of sattvic, parasympathetic state. That will give you the opportunity to feel stable before you inhale. And that's how the technique should begin. Nadi shouldn't start from exhalation first. Exhale means that's called prachardan. You remove, usually it has to be forceful, but
Fine. English library book unna.
and then you please mute.
Library book unna English. Achadu chalu. Close everything. Pack everything. Okay,
Anuji,
ma'am.
pack everything later. First, we need to pack here this slides. Pack later. Here something deeper is going on. Focus here. Such webinar will not come again. Okay. So can you see the slide? Everyone? Yes? Okay. So usually it has to be like this, that you exhale and then you inhale. See here what I'm saying. Nervous system is breathing you, awareness is not yet breathing. When you inhale, you still be here. But when you start your exhalation first, you are reaching here. You know, when you become more aware, you become more aware when exhalation becomes longer. Why in asana class teacher give most of the adjustments, or when we say, okay, now exhale, relax yourself in asana or go deeper. Have you seen that when the adjustment comes, it goes with exhalation. Why don't you go deeper into the pose with inhalation? Why always you have to exhale and then push yourself further into the pose? You use the exhalation as a tool to go deeper, because when you exhale, your awareness goes sharper. Those who are here watching me from the Pranic Purification, that's why we were learning first in Kaya Nyas to learn exhalation. Because when exhalation happens, when it becomes longer, your awareness sharpens. And that's the state which give you shift from your ordinary breath, everything shifts to the pranic breath, the yogic breath. But when the techniques start with inhalation, you still remain in sympathetic state. So it means next inhalation when you will do, it will be still reactory. It means if your leg will start feeling numb, it will change your breathing. That's why many times when you are feeling sometimes I do Nadi Shodham many times and you start feeling the shoulder pain, you may not notice because that's very subtle, but you will notice that first of all, breath will change and then your mind will start going again and again to the pain. Have you noticed this? When you're doing one kind of Nadi Shodhan, scripture, the book says 10 times, but your hands are tired. How to do 10 times? And then see what happens. Now I'll tell you what is happening with you. Reaction, how it happens. You are doing first 3 breaths nicely. Now you feel shoulder. When you start feeling shoulder, first of all, now because of pain, now once the mind went there, started feeling it, breath will change completely now. And after that again, you will try. So you will change your own breath. Now you'll start being faster. That's why sometimes some people, they're very clever. They say, okay, I did my 10 rounds of Nadi Shodhan. today task is done. But these 10 rounds of Nadi Shodham was reactory. It means your pain came and your Nadi Shodham first 3 was very deep, slow, but last 7 was little faster because you had pain, you wanted to finish it. And then we are making ourselves satisfied that I did that many kumbhak, means I hold the breath, I did that many rounds of Nadi Shodhan. That's what we do most of the time. Even in this, when we are doing Brahmari pranayam, first 3 pranayam because shoulders are okay. But after 3, if you see your Brahmari, it's all reactions. Now just want to finish it. That's why the exhalation become faster. Is it clear if I'm wrong? Is it clear? That's what we do, the pranayam techniques. Even, and then we put in social platform, I did today my strong sadhana. But your sadhana was mostly you strengthen your habit. You strengthen your reactions actually. And remember one thing, when I'm saying pranayam practice, it means you're working with your energy body. You're working with the energy which is neutral, which strengthen the state which you are already in. I gave this example many times, I'm giving again. Imagine the electricity. Electricity doesn't know which color of bulb is there. So when you switch on, if it is a red light, red bulb, the light is red. It will give the same light. If it is a yellow, it's the same. Same thing. What state you are doing your practice? What is the state there? Your practice will strengthen that. And that's why based on that I made long time one post on pranayam, that the pranayam can also trigger and can feed your ego. That's why it happens. Prana can feed the ego. It means you can become more egoistic. You can become more you can become more calm, but you can also feed your ego at the same time. Because right now you are doing Nadi Shodhana, it's a very powerful energetical practice. But if you see the state of your mind, it's a vikshipta state because mind is going again and again to the pain, and we just want to finish it because we think that it has to be 10 rounds. It means better for you, even if it is 5, that 5 should be non-reactory 5. Is it clear for everyone? So next time when you practice the practice of pranayam, which is energetical practice, think of electricity. You are strengthening your habit, you are strengthening your state. So first 5, if it is very sattvic 5, when you are fully aware, awareness is sharpened, there's no reaction. Your breath doesn't trigger by the emotions, by the pain, or by the sensation. It means that much you have to do. If it is coming, go down a little bit, slow down, or today do the other pranayam techniques. And that's why if you, those who are watching me from the Pranic Purification, we were doing few times the kayanyas. We were doing few times that the exhalation to make your awareness that much sharp. There's no space for any emotions to come in. All it has to be always sattvic, because if anytime your practice is triggered by a certain factor, you will strengthen that emotion at that particular time. So next time there's no Nadi Shodhan, it will be never 10 rounds Nadi Shodhan. Book says if you do everyday Nadi Shodhan, you can clean all the nadis, but not this way, not holding. Even in holding, for example, if I ask you how many times you practice Kumbhak Pranayam, let's say, when we are holding the breath, Kumbhak Pranayam. So sometimes people do Kumbhak Pranayam, you hold inside, and then after few seconds, thought comes, oh, let's hold a little bit longer. It's good. Today, let's hold 1 minute. Why 1 minute? Because later something I should have to say to others. Oh, see, I can hold the breathing for 1 minute, or I can hold the breathing for 2 minutes. This types of state of mind we are having while practice pranayam, and that makes our breath still poor, still ordinary breathing, even though we are practicing pranayam or certain techniques for many years. Why? Because the way we perform these kind of techniques, it's not what is required. Clear, everyone? We do, everyone is doing actually yoga. Today is World Yoga Day. How many people did yoga? 1,000 millions of people today. Tomorrow everyone will sleep the morning. State is important. Even the simple pranayam, Brahmari pranayam, Ujjayi pranayam, every pranayam, you need to see what is the state. And that's why this first sutra is Upanishad Sutra before doing pranayam. Pranayamena tatah kuryat nityam satvikaya dhiya. Means before you sit in pranayam practice, sattvic state of mind. Your mind should have that state where there's no reaction. Means where your breathing exercise in pranayam is not reactory breathing exercise. It is not following the reaction. It's not following the emotions. Then it becomes a pranayam. Otherwise, it will be always like a normal breathing breath work. Okay. And how you do that? That's why the foundational work, which I explained to you, the asana, master the asana, because every asana, learn how different breathing in different asanas. Makarasana, you master first, because Makarasana is belly, because you become aware more of the lower. Exhalation in Makarasana becomes longer. And exhalation is required for your that state, which is sattvic state, and then everything starts. That's the flow. Is it clear, everyone? Right? So if I give you one learning from here, practice asana. Every asana, learn how the correct breathing is, which will make your ordinary breath at least becomes strong. Then master Makarasana. After every asana, you start practicing Makarasana. If your breath is poor, not you don't know how to breathe properly, Makarasana. And then after that, you begin with exhalation types of pranayam. Mostly we do Kapalbhati first, but you first start doing exhale longer, such kind of pranayam, and then you begin with other techniques. So this is how you will do. Now see. Right now, our breath is an instrument of samskaras, like I said, triggered, respond to vrittis. When we say chitta vritti nirod, see here, right now, vritti swarupyamitaratra. This is a sutra from the Yoga Sutra. Atha yoganuशासनम yogaschitta vritti nirodha tadadashtuh swarupe avasthanam vritti, fourth sutra, vritti swarupyam itaratra. Right now, what vritti you will have, your prana will have the same, prana will follow the same vritti. Right now it's like this. That's why it remains poor. The state of mind is required. That's what I said before. Exhalation types of pranayam will make your awareness more sharp, so that the vritti will become ekagra. You'll become ekagra chitta. With ekagra chit, then you sit for pranayam. Today we say pranayam gives the stable mind, focused mind. That's the statement. Someone does pranayam for what? So that I can feel calm, I can feel stable. That's the explanation today. What pranayam gives? Pranayam gives you the peaceful state of mind. For yogis, to do pranayam, you need to have a peaceful state of mind. See the two different statement. Do you understand, everyone? You know what I'm saying? Today for us, the peace is the result of doing pranayam. Ekagra, stable mind, is a result, is a goal which I achieve by practicing or after practicing pranayam. That's why that's our normal breathing. But for yogis, for pranic breath, you need for prana to touch the pranic body. Pranamaya kosh. There are panchakoshas, annamaya kosh, pranamaya kosh. For this energy body, if you want to reach, you should have that peaceful state of mind, sattvic state of mind before you do pranayam. For yogis, this is what? That's the difference between yogis pranayam practice and our pranayam practice. Our pranayam practice is the breath work. Yogis pranayam practice is the pranayam. For us, our goal is so that after few pranayam technique, I reach to a state where I feel very calm and positive and very, peaceful. Means that's us. But for yogis, his pranayam starts from this. That's their base. Same like for animals. Their higher chakra is what we have lower chakra. For dog, the higher chakra is Mooladhar. For us, our first chakra is Mooladhar. We go above the Mooladhar. His final is Mooladhar. Do you understand, everyone? Is it clear? That's the difference. For us, the goal of pranayam is ekagra state. But for yogis, the goal of pranayam is not ekagra. It's pranayama begin from the ekagra state. That's why before that, there are technique. Read the Yoga Sutra before pranayama, what he says, how to stabilize the chitta. Little mantra is required. Little force exhalation types of breathing exercise required. That's why we do breathing exercise. That's why Kapalbhati, some people say it's not a pranayam. Why this statement came? Why Kapalbhati was mentioned in Shatkarma? If you see Kapalbhati, it's a part of Shatkarma, 6 cleansing, right? So there's a debate again. Some says pranayam, it cannot be pranayam because it's under 6 cleansing. It's a kriya, you know. Some says no, it's a pranayam. So people are even having debates in this because it's a prachardhan kriya, forceful. You are exhaling. Any technique where you are using exhalation forcefully, it is giving you that path where you can reach to that quiet state. So it comes all preparatory practice of pranayam. That's why it comes under cleansing one, shatkarma. But because there are 3 types of kapalbhati, those who are new to this kind of theory, you can also now listen to me. Kapalbhati, there are 3 types of Kapalbhati. One is called with Vayu, Vatakram, with Vayu, with air. So that comes under the Pranayam Kriya, Pranayam practice. And before that, all comes in a Shatkarma Kriya. So now, because why Kapalbhati comes first? Because that is what required, which becomes a preparation for that state of mind which becomes a foundation for pranayam. Today we do pranayam for, people are triggered by emotions, disturbed mind, and then sit for meditation or sit for. That's why meditation is not possible. That's why we teach first them do certain techniques, maybe forceful breathing, maybe certain kind of techniques of breathing, holding, or this, to make the mind stable before you do the pranic practice. So here the same. Breath becomes an instrument for samskara, respond to vrittis, mental waves, respond to samskaras, past impressions. All these things which I explained before respond to fear, desire, memory. Our breath is based on this. Reactionary breathing causes vritti swarup. Right now, that's why we consider ourselves. When anger comes, we think I am angry, or someone says you are angry. Why? Because right now because breath is changing based on the vritti. Usually the breath should change the vritti. That power we should have, but it's opposite. So it has to be changed. Now, because every time we are in a reactory state, our energy is leaking. There's a one thing last time in a previous webinar, I was telling how the energy leakage happens. Most of the time, when we do any kind of energy practices, pranayam we do, many techniques we learn how to store the prana. Pranayam means how to store, collect, gather. That's why we do Nadi Shodhan, to gather in the navel, because navel is a place where the gathering happens. But that gathering happens only when the doors are closed, when energy is not leaking. Today, what do you think when you do any kind of pranayam technique, any kind of breathing technique, all the techniques when you do, how much you are storing, how much energy is stored? Mentally, you feel that you did something and something has stored, but actually energetically, everything is leaking because Mool Bandh is weak. And it's not only about the Mool Bandh. Not every kind of storage required Mool Bandh. Not every pranayam or every asana required Mool Bandh to store the prana. The first leakage starts when first blockage, first door, if you want to stop leaking the prana, the energy, starts when you stop reacting. More you we react, that's why I'm telling you to check your day during the day, all your actions, how it was driven, why you were doing these actions. Keep writing. Today, I taught the class because I saw I'm late, or today I did this action because I saw I did. I'm kind of weak in this. So every time check the actions based on the reactions or not, because if it is reaction, energy will leak. So any pranayam you do, it will be leaking. Stop reaction. That's why I'm saying do only 5 times of Nadi Shodhan, do only 3 times of Nadi Shodhan. That's why if you see the book, it says only 3 rounds first, few months. Only Brahmari 10 rounds. only Nadi Shodhan 5 rounds in this ratio. Because if you go beyond, we think holding is more important. We think more we do, more we get. It's opposite. More we do, more we lose. If we are doing all the techniques based on the reaction. So more we do with a sattvic state, then we can store. If we do all the time a lot, but every time because I have to do fast, I have to do this way, or time is finished, all whatever you did, it is taking your energy, even which you have a stored energy, that also goes away. Emotional instability, all the poor breath is this. Hormonal imbalances, poor digestion. Those who have a poor breathing, they have a poor digestion, anxiety, fatigue, all loss of clarity. This is all our breath. If you have all these things, it means the breath is poor. So this is how it is here. This is called Ashuddha Prana. Okay, right now, it is our breaths. So right now, our breath is called Ashuddha Prana. Shuddha Prana means the yogic breath, which is the pranic breath. Ashuddha Prana means our normal breathing. That's why I made a system how to go. Sometimes, many times people ask how to move forward, how to start the practice, like I was explaining to you. Start with the exhalation types of practice, start with this kind of techniques, learn the technique properly, stop doing when you are more into reaction. For how to move from the poor breathing to the regular kind of pranic breath, there's a proper system I have created for every practitioner. This, the Pranic Path. Those who are new, they should go this way. Recently, we finished the purification, which I gave. Many times you were asking how you can join any kind of pranayam practice. Sometimes you are saying, no, we don't have this, you have to wait. Then people are asking why we have to wait, because there's a proper system you have to go through. It's not every month. I don't do every month the practice of pranayam. There's a proper time. For example, see, we go from here. Many of you have done this breath detox where we do the panch prana breathing, right? How many of you didn't do breath detox? Just raise a thumb. Mute and just raise. So this is the pranic path. I'm explaining to you how you should train your breathing, how you should go from ordinary breath to the pranic breath. This is what I have created for you. Breath detox. I made this long time back. Many people, more than 10,000 people already joined. Why you don't join? I don't know. You must join now. So this is about the Panchavayu. Panchavayu breathing. Panchavayu means the 5 kind of prana, sub pranas. I'm explaining there the movements, some of the asana, how to activate the inner different areas to train your body for the pranayama. Then we have a second step. This is pran arambh. These are 2 pre-recorded. You can just take it. This is about the techniques which you see today in the book. Here, this pran arambh, it is explained deeply. What this technique is, how to do, what to do, why this technique name is this. For example, why you say Kapalbhati. Today, if you see, most of our practices are based on the technique. Today, when Kapalbhati comes in the mind, I was teaching a few workshops in different countries. Once I was in France. I was teaching one workshop on asana, but there I was teaching one pranayam technique. I was giving lecture there. Sometimes I was asking, okay, do you know the Kapalbhati? This is what I was asking. This was my question before I was teaching. Many people say, yeah, we know that Kapalbhati. It's a fire breath. That's the answer. So then I ask, so you learn this technique as a name, fire breath? I say, yes, it's a breath of fire. In many pranayam kriya yoga, this is also the name, breath of fire. Then I asked them, okay, can you show me so that I can see that if this breath of fire is correct or not. So many people started doing it. So they started doing Kapalbhati, what I was telling them, but this way, faster. Because the name was breath of fire. You see how name tells you what to do. And I have said this many times in asana also. When I'm teaching asana, I'm telling people you should know what is the meaning of the asana, because when you know what is the meaning of the asana, you will automatically know what to do there. Today, we learn the techniques, and then later we learn the name, opposite. And then because we already understood the techniques, so we don't have interest to know what is the meaning. It has to be reverse. Do you understand what I'm saying, everyone? Now see what I'm going to tell you. Today, so they were showing me Kapalbhati because the name was breath of fire. So breath of fire means, so the new practitioner, when he will learn, when he will listen, breath of fire, what comes in the mind? It means the practice which should generate the fire or where you need to feel the fire, called breath of fire. So the technique was automatically faster breathing. So their Kapalbhati became fast, forceful exhalation. So fast, forceful exhalation is a Kapalbhati. But if you see the pranic system, Kapalbhati is not about breath of fire. Kapalbhati is not about, there's nothing to feel fiery there in Kapalbhati. You don't do Kapalbhati because you have to feel fire, the heat, basically. Today, most of the time we think that Kapalbhati means I will feel heat. And that's what we teach. Okay, summer, do Kapalbhati. That's what we teach, no? In summer, you do Kapalbhati. There you can do breath of fire. But when it comes to pranayam, the goal is not to awaken the fire. Because if you see Kapal Bhati, the purification of Bhati, Kapal, purification of shining the skull, that's the meaning, right? If you see the meaning, shining the skull. Shining what? Shining means giving the clarity. Shining means, for example, sun is there, but covered by the clouds. Removing the clouds so the sun can shine. So this is what you are doing now. Shining means removing the ignorance so that the chitta can shine. You can reach to ekagra state. That's the Kapalbhati. And how to shine, how to do that, how you must reach that state, what is required in the shining, you need to purify. And purification required which element? The fire element. And the fire element is where? On the navel. How this fire elemental will be activated, not the body fire, the element fire will be activated by hitting the navel in a certain, with a certain flow. So that's how the names and the techniques. Do you get it, everyone? You understand? So you go from the name and then you come to technique. And now see. So I said, I understand, everyone, just be with me. So I said shining. Shining require purification. Purification, which element? In India, we do purification, Havan, Agnihotra, Homa, Yaj, offering to the fire for purification. Fire is element which purify everything. So you should use the fire. We have a certain area where the fire is. For example, eyes. Fire is there. That's why we do certain mudra from the eye. Bhumadya, Chit, when you are watching here. All three eye together. Shambhavi, it's a fiery practice, elemental. That's why it gives you more clarity. These days, Shambhavi mudra is very popular. So, so now see, the purification required the element fire in your body, the digestive fire, navel, and now in a certain way it will. Now understand. Now we understood, okay, naval work. And then we understand, okay, we are talking about elemental fire. We're not talking about the physically you should feel heat. So in Kapalbhati, you should feel limited physical heat. You should not feel heat outside. If you start working to feel physically, it means you have diverted this elemental fire for your physical fire. It means the energy which has to go up to clean the chitta, the fluctuation, is working to giving you whole body heat. So this is not a Kapalbhati is working now. You're working something else. You're burning yourself. After that, you'll become ash. So it should not be like this. So that's why there's a proper rhythm there. Because this elemental fire only can be generated in one way. Which way? There's a specific area that you have to hit. Then I'm explaining that's the course about Pran Arambh, this one. That's why I'm telling, okay, this area you have to, and in certain seconds, for example, I'm telling 2 seconds, one exhale. Not why 2 seconds, one exhale? Belly need time to feel relaxed. If your Kapalbhati is like this, when the belly is not having enough time to go out naturally, and then you are hitting the next one, it means you're not doing Kapalbhati. You're not working with the shining the skull, Bhati. You're working with something else. Do you understand, everyone? You understand what I'm saying? So that's why, same thing, Shitali. Sheetal, the cooling. Cooling is what? It's where is a cooling element? Now, for example, see, there's a Shitali pranayam in yoga. Shitali pranayam means, now see what I'm going to explain you. Very important. Shitali means which give Sheetal, the cooling effect. And cooling effect, which element can give? There's no fire, of course. There's no air, of course. There's no there's no other element, of course. So, for example, what you think, and when it comes to Shitali Pranayama, what comes in your mind as a beginner? Shitali Pranayama means I roll my tongue, inhale 10 times, and then I'll feel better. No, you think that because you breathe through the mouth, air goes inside, you feel sheetal, cooling effect. It's not like that. I just said air element is not responsible to give you sheetal effect, the cooling effect. It is a water element. So it means until your wet is the tongue is wet, then only it will be Shitali pranayam. But after few rounds of Shitali, you will notice, if you do with me 3 rounds of Shitali, you will notice your tongue will become dry. And then if you continue doing Shitali, because you saw in the book it's written breathe from the mouth, but it's not written how much to breathe, when to stop. So you'll be keep breathing through the mouth, because for us technique means breathing through the mouth by rolling the tongue, it becomes Shitali, but it's not. It's opposite. When the tongue is dry, and then when the wind touches to this dry surface, creates the heat. So now the technique of Shitali becomes a heating pranayam. You may not notice it because we're not very sensitive to such kind of inner. That's why this technique doesn't work with many people. Is it clear what I'm saying? Do you understand, everyone? So Shitali remains Shitali when the tongue is wet. And that's why in this course I'm explaining what to do so the tongue remains wet, so that you still do Shitali 10 rounds. Otherwise, the Shitali itself can become heating pranayam. It generates the heat. Imagine you are here and you rub your hands here. It becomes heat. Same thing happens when again and again the air touches this surface which is dry. So you have to have certain saliva there until you do Shitali. Your tongue should not be dry, your lips should not be wet. So before you do any technique, must understand the names. What is the meaning? Why? And how it came to the technique. This understanding is required before your breath becomes a yogic breath. Otherwise, even after so much techniques people do, but still it's the same. We know the pranayam from many, all books are actually available today. If you see, you can buy any books, and many books actually. But still the breathing is the breathing. Normal breathing remains there. Okay, so this is how this prana aram is there. Then we go for, now after that, many people we are doing with me. Next one is in January, this pranic purification, more live. It's a live practices. Then pranic purification 2, which we've just finished with our practitioners recently. So this is a journey. So these two, those who are new, I really recommend you, if you really want to work with your energy system, which you want to really understand this practice, you must start with these two things. Right now, see, this is how, and then after this two, I just have created one more practice which is called Pranabodh. That's a certification course which we are now doing in next year. But that's a certification part which is from beginner to a teacher. But that's the journey. Okay, this is a journey. So this is how many of us, many of those who are joining me also, they are also moving from here to here, because the journey is not just learn a technique and then go. It's a steps. You train your body for that, and then you reach here. The Pranayam Teacher Certification course, which is happening in February, it's called Pranabodhs. Okay, breath detox is about what? It's about this sattvic. It is about to make your mind sattvic. So you remember what I said to you, that before you do pranayam, you should have a sattvic intelligence, peaceful mind. It should not give you the peaceful, you should have that state of mind. So how you get this? Breath detox is about that. Restore balance in your energy system, improve lungs capacity. These are all the preparations. Many techniques are there. You must do it. Those who are new. Cultivate calmness. It's a free. You can do any times you are available. Prepare your breath and mind, and this is all there. And then we go. Clear, everyone? Clear? Can see the slide? Yeah. So those who are new start like this, and then pran aram is I'm teaching there the 13 practices, explanation like I told you, meaning, origin, purpose of each pranayam, how it came, everything, variations, how you should do, when you should not do, clear explanation techniques, everything. Because many times, many people ask how to start, how to, because many mail when you, those who booked for this webinar, you ask one question, how to start? Will I learn some techniques? How to begin the pranayam practice? This is a journey. This is how you should begin pranayam philosophy a little bit, how elemental work in pranayam, sorry for right, elemental work there a little bit we are understanding, and then we go. So this you can join now. I want to tell you one more thing also. Right now in this price you can join, because from 1st of July it will change. So those who are new, you must do these two practices: breath detox, completely free, and with the time you learn the techniques, then you can move for pranic, because pranic purification, you see here, which is happening in January live with me. For pranic purification, this level 1, you must have this too, because here you are using these techniques, because here you are understanding beyond this technique a little bit. So for that, you must have this to complete. So those who are all the time asking pranic purification, you must complete this too. So after this, you can take this from 1st of July. It's a different structure. Just take it. Now the part 2. What is the yogic breath? See, air becomes prana only when the breath is united with awareness. For example, very simple. Right now, you're listening to me. You're watching me. You're not much aware about your breathing, but you don't know how much you moved, your breath changes. With me, it's opposite. How many times since I'm sitting with you, live, talking to you, many movements I did, many posture I changed, many times I went back, I went forward. Every time when I changed the pose, before I changed the pose, automatically, before the event happened outside, my breath changed automatically, because the signal went that I have to move front, breath changed, everything changed. So that I'm, even if I change the posture, still the breathing is same, deep. In you, if you will see now, if you will see with a curved spine, there's no space with your stomach to inhale deep. It will not go till down. You will feel suffocated. So you have to breathe from up. And because breathing is here, it will be short and fast. That happens. In the yogic breath, it's opposite. Why? Because through asana, you trained. That's why in breath detox, you are learning this, the different movements. Through pranayam techniques, the right techniques, you train the whole system. So even the movement, the depth is same. So this is what it happens. Yogic breath is response to what? This too, sun and moon. I'm going to explain you how to begin a little bit, how to train this Krishna Paksh. See, I wrote here two things. Can you see this? Krishna Paksh, Shukla Paksh. Just a minute, please. See here. Krishna Paksh and Shukla Paksh. How the breathing is working. All what I said to you, this all techniques, it is to train your breath for a pranic breath. So your ordinary breath can become a pranic breath. You will hear this kind of stories that more you do yogic practices, or especially the pranayam and meditation, your intake of food becomes less. If your food is more, it means your pranic body is not fulfilled with your breathing. So those who feel hungry all the time, or those who feel that if he doesn't eat enough food, if he doesn't eat enough food, the physical body will not survive, or you will not feel energetic because you need food. It means your energy body is not directly connected with the pranic system, the pranic environment. So you need more food to take this prana. We eat food because we need to take that prana from the sun. Sun, we are not directly receptive. When we say yogis, when they practice yoga, intake is less, means they don't need food more. They don't. That's why it's, if you see in a yogic kind of philosophies, many times we say, okay, don't eat after sunset. In Ayurveda also, don't eat after sunset. You eat before sunset, how much you want to eat. And for advanced practitioners, automatically it becomes less, twice a day. Why automatic less? Because now body doesn't need so much food. Because the prana, the energy which your energy body need to sustain this life, it is directly happening. Your Vyasti prana, individual prana, is already connected to Samasti prana. So you are receiving directly. So more you do meditation, more you do dharana, more you do pratyahar pranayam, these kind of internal practices, your intake is less always. And if it is more, it means the connection is very weak. So start practicing this. How to start practicing this? This too. Start connecting your breaths with sun and moon. So when these two names I wrote here, rising moon and descending one. Rising moon means Shukla Paksh, when it grows. Moon, when it's less and less towards the new moon, it called Krishna Paksh in Sanskrit. Krishna means the darkness, more and more dark. Shukla means when light. Clear, everyone? Clear this one? Yes. Now see. When breath becomes refined, means follows the sun and moon, it no longer reacts to emotions. It leads consciousness beyond it. Right now, our consciousness is trapped because breath is not free. Right now, it's a poor breathing. It follows the events, but it goes beyond when it is refined. How it will be refined? See, yogic breath is every emotion leads to ultimate goal. So channel breath feed emotions, emotion feeds the breath. Together, they create the cycle. So this is how it's happening with us. Ordinary breath is each emotions shake the inner state, destroy and distract the person. Right now, if the breath is not trained, every emotion will shake the inner things. So this is the previous slide. Breath does not move by will. It moves according to where attention and identity resides. Now see here. When we practice any kind of technique, let's say you practice Samavritti Pranayam. There's one pranayam called Samavritti, the first pranayam when we are balancing the rhythm of the breathing techniques, inhale and exhale. Sometimes if you see, let's say if I'm telling you to focus on the breathing right now, imagine if I tell you now, or any teacher tells you, okay, focus on the breathing. So you are focusing on the breathing, you know that you are breathing. Let's say you're doing Nadi Shodhan. Many times when we do any kind of Anulom Vilom, let's say Anulom Vilom, inhale, exhale. Now see how your ordinary breath remains ordinary, remains breath work, which is also good. Breath work is good. It is good for lungs, it is good for physical body. But why it's not pranayam, and when it's become a pranayam practice now, let's see. If I say you breathe Anulom Vilom, so you inhale left nose, exhale right, inhale right, exhale left. If your attention, if your focus, awareness is limited to the action which you are doing, for example, you know you're breathing through the nose and you know you're exhaling through the nose. This is what most of us we know. That's the one focus. That's the limited, trapped awareness. It works only at limited area. It means your awareness is not very sharp, very kind of open, free to see the whole process. It's good. At least breathing is going on. But it's not a pranic breath. Pranic breath, same Anulom Vilom becomes a pranic breath when you are doing Anulom Vilom and your awareness goes with your breath. Means you know when the breath touches the ring of the nose, when it entered, touching the inner surface, the same goes down back to throat and all the way down to the navel. Navel means not till the navel. Navel means that deep to the lungs, and that's expands the navel. And then coming back the same other nose, when you can see the whole channels, Ida and Pingla channel. That's why we talk about Ida Nadi, Pingla Nadi. In the pranayam theory, The philosophy, we talk about Ida Nadi, means a left energy channel called Ida, a right energy channel called Pingla. That's represent the moon, that represents the sun. Why we say this, Ida and Pingla? Just for philosophy? No, it's for so that you can imagine, you can feel that. Means when we can say that I'm breathing through Ida, when you can see the whole track. If you don't see the track, your breath remains ordinary breath. Your breath remains the breath work, which is not bad. It's a good, but it's not a pranayama. It is the pranic ayama. It's not ayama, it's yama. Control is happening. Limited it will be, but it's not ayama. If you want to make it ayama, expansion of consciousness, expansion of breath, the prana, so that the prana can be free, can nourish. So then you have to focus a little bit more deeper. Is it clear, everyone? Right? Same Brahmari. Brahmari, same way. Ujjayi, same way. Means when the awareness is sharp, you can feel the flow, how it is moving. That makes the breath, ordinary breath, into yogic breath. That's what yogis do. They don't just see the sensations, they see the whole system, whole flow. Like you can see the flow. Then you can, once you can feel your Ida and Pingla, your nadis, then you can start experiencing 72,000 nadis, which textbook explains. How yogis saw 72,000 nadis, how they counted. That's also one time, that's also mystery. People ask how they counted that many numbers. Actually, that time, rational mind doesn't work. There's no need of using that logic, to using that numbers to count. It comes, it's clear. So that happens when you really start working on pranayam like that. Not just simply, okay, my belly is in Kapalbhati pushing. In Bhastrika, same Bhastrika, when we do Bhastrika, we focus on the force, how much forcefully I'm breathing. We don't focus how much deep in that force my breath entered, what was the intensity. When you are aware of full flow, then becomes a yogic breath, then becomes a pranic breath. If only outer, if only a force, just a technique, it remains a breath work. So move from breath work to the pranic work. That's the shift. So some few things I went a little bit deeper. Fear lifts the breath upward, emotions spread it outward, presence drawn downward. Little bit now. See, the next slides are very important. This is called pranic intelligence. Means when you understand that. Now see. So prana settle downward due to tamas refined into stillness, steadiness. Right now, if you have pramad, distraction, the tamas, unrefined tamas. Many people maybe don't know what is tamas. When you are practicing pranayam with heaviness, when you are practicing any breath work with sleepy, sometimes those who are practicing pranayam with me, I'm telling there, you should not feel sleepy also. Sometimes we do practice of pranayam. We do sometimes like this. We are practicing a technique, especially passive techniques. That's why we don't do passive. Why we like aggressive techniques, Why you like Kriya Yoga? Why we like Kundalini Yoga, Tantra Yoga? Why we like these things? Because there the practice is active, aggressive. That's why people like. The real pranayam, the real yogic practice begin when we become effortless. More effort is not a deeper work, less effort. Pranayam starts with less efforts. If you think Kapalbhati, Bhastrika, all these effortful practices, or in Brahmari, you think of sound is important because that's also kind of outer, focus. So these all are the practice. If your focus is there, it remains limited. You are still, it's called, you are still in tamas, means in the negative patterns. So practicing pranayam in heaviness, when you feel sleepy, when you are unconscious. Sometimes we just wake up and do pranayam and then we are feeling sleepy there. And then we think that we did 10 rounds. Sometimes when we hold the breathing in Nadi Shodhan, our mind is already thinking something else there in the back. But we are holding, and then suddenly after holding, you remember, oh, you were holding for longer time because now we feel suffocated. Now you need to exhale. Sometimes we don't even remember, okay, which nose to exhale now? But then because we are alone, because we don't practice with the teacher, so we just exhale from any nose. Then we remember, okay, anyhow, I'll do next round from the other nose. So this is what practice is going on. So this is strengthening your tamas, means ignore.
I don't know. Conectaron a ciego. Oh, yeah. Apa nih?
Please mute yourself.
Don't worry, I'm back. Can you see me, everyone? Okay, now you can see the slides, everyone? Right? Yes. Okay, so a little bit change the practice. When tamas is refined, it gives weight to awareness. That weight naturally allows prana to settle downward. So try to focus more a little bit. Change the practice the way you do. Lungs are where the prana. Now see some of the lungs explanation. Which breathing, which part of the lungs, I will explain you now. This will be our few final slides. Lungs are where prana reveals the state of mind. Breath does not enter to the lungs uniformly. Now see, it selects region according to mental state, emotional tone, nervous system activity. So there are few breathing, those who you can relate to your breathing right now, how your breath is. Now see the upper lungs. Few people breathing from the upper lungs. Prana is pulled upward by rajas. Those who breathe from the upper lungs, it means they are in the rajas state, fluctuated, kshipta state, basically. In yogic term, we say kshipta state, unstable. They don't practice with belief, means their belief always will be shaken. Oh, this technique is working or not working. Sometimes this comes in your mind. When you do some techniques, it comes in your mind, oh, this techniques will work for me or not. Or this yoga teacher is good for me or not. Sometimes that also confusion. Your belief system is weaker. Sometime on yourself, am I doing right or wrong? Or maybe I'm ready or not. This kind of things comes when the rajas is more. It means that time those who are breathing from the upper chest, upper lungs, this is what they will feel: restlessness and identity, problems with self-belief. Nervous system moves into alert, defensive mode always. Change this. So right now, changing the breathing. For example, alertness and defensive mode in which asana you do? You remember just in the beginning, I told you that in a chakrasana, the whole wheel pose, right? The whole wheel pose. Which breathing should be? The upper lungs breathing. That time, your breath goes to upper chest. But because you are trained, so you don't feel this part, but that is how the breathing is moving there. But there, because you are aware, you're conscious, all these doesn't affect. Otherwise, if you're unconscious, the breathing is reaching up, breathing only upper chest, all these things will affect you. Mind becomes future
డైరెక్ట్
oriented.
వెళ్ళిపోతాం ఇంతటికి
Please mute.
నేను రెడీ అయిపోతా
అరే ఇంకా స్నానం చేయాలా
ఏం లేదు డైరెక్ట్ వస్తా
So see, mind becomes future oriented, restless, or anxious. This breath reflects ego based functioning. Okay, sometimes after practicing any kind of yoga techniques, asana, pranayam, meditation, if you have a feeling, oh, today I did a lot of practice. Today I did 10 rounds of sun salutation. Means when this feeling is coming, check your breathing that time. You will notice that mostly it's shifted to up. Sometimes even people are not aware and people don't know how to check. But if you will be more attentive, more focused, you will notice that the breath is moving more up. It's more ego based functioning. Fear or loss, need for control, overthinking, emotional reactivity. It is all above lungs. So change it. Now see the middle. What happens when the breath settled? And these are all the pranic practices we teach. This is how it has to be. All these lines are making you feel that how it has to be. All the journey of pranayama, it has to be like this. We start from here. We start from here because more we are physical. We want to experience everything physical first, so we are here. We are more in the future. I will become this. We are here, and that's how everyone starts. That's why we are learning all these techniques. Now, if it is center, if the breath reaches to center, middle lungs engagement, emotional relationship, trust is built. You will have a trust. If your breath is more in the center, for example, right now, let's do one experiment with me, everyone. Close your eyes and quickly place your hands on the chest. Place your hands on the chest, okay? Do like this with me, everyone. Quick. Forget about belly breathing, forget about deep breathing, focus on chest breathing. Start breathing from the chest consciously. I want you to train your chest, lungs for two different breathing. Right now, everyone focus that every inhalation, your chest goes front and back. Means move fronts and back. Outside and inside. This is one breathing. Just feel that. If you can feel that, and if you are with me, raise your thumb, other thumb. Keep doing, but raise a thumb so I can understand you are all doing with me. Okay, no need to watch. Just keep doing and just raise a thumb. Yes. Now change a little bit. Now think that your breathing, chest is going sideways. Sideways. Expansion happens sideways. Those who can feel, raise a thumb. Be more conscious and do this way. Yes. Okay, I'll keep it quick. Open the eyes now. Now see, here, come back to this. I said in backward bending, especially chakrasana I'm talking about, your breath goes here, upper chest, close to throat. Okay, here. If your chest goes up and down in such kind of back bend, up and down, you will be having these things. You'll be in alert mode, defensive mode, aggressive, sympathetic state. More can be triggered. But if you can settle this breath in chakrasana, this one, and also sideways, which you are doing now, you will be more stable, little bit, more connected. See here, attachment to affection, grief, longing, empathy, sensitivity, you become more sensitive. You become more receptive at that time. Means backward bending is considered as a nadi shodhan asanas. Means it purifies the energy channels. Backward bending only can purify the energy channel if your breath on your lungs goes sideways. So every back bend you check from tomorrow, if you practice asana, you do like a bhujangasana, ustrasana, or this, how your backward bending will become a nadi shodhan, means energy purification. Because usually it's like this. Usually backward bending should be energy channel purification techniques. All the backward bending is energy channel purification asanas. But only when the breath is settled on the center of the chest and expands like this, means your lungs goes like this. You can feel the expansion like this. Is it clear? Do you understand? Right? So now from tomorrow, if you practice asana, do like this. Now I'm telling you for forward bending also. So in forward bend, if your belly in forward bend, especially Paschimottanasana, flat forward bend, there are two types of forward bend. One is a squeeze when you become short. One is when the belly is flat like this. Like this is the stomach, you press this way. And one forward bend when you squeeze. All the forward bend when you press this way, like Paschimottanasana when the spine is flat. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. All straight forward bend. Clear? Everyone? You understand what I'm saying? So all these kind of forward bend, if you do, in that time, try to breathe sideways. All the purification of body, physical purification, it will become. That's how your physical practice, asana practice will become a pranic practice, even though you are practicing asana. So see the two treatment I gave you. Now the third, lower lungs. What happens there? When the breath reaches to lower lungs, that gives you stability, groundness. The breath reflects to safety, trust, inner support, surrender. Nervous system shifts into parasympathetic state. How? How inhalation? Usually inhalation means sympathetic nervous system touch. How it will become? How your inhalation becomes? How your inhalation can activate the parasympathetic nervous system? Only if it reaches to lower lungs. That's why we breathe the diaphragmatic breathing. Yogic breath we learn in pranayama. In books many times, yogic breath. Breath becomes slow and heavy. The body feels grounded and secure. That's why in pranayama we learn exhalation. Why we learn exhalation? You remember I was telling you. We learn exhalation first. Why? Because exhalation trigger this, activate this part. Most of us, we are here. If you see your breath, you will notice you are upper. Everyone is this. You lie, you will be upper, you will go forward bending upper, sitting upper. It's all upper. That's why short. Even you can notice now you'll have a short breathing, upper breathing. That's why we learn first exhale. Now see how exhalation activate this lower. Let's do with me everyone. Sit straight quickly. I'll give you technique for this. Sit straight. And this is the first technique that you should every day, every morning before you start your day should do. Exhale. Now, okay, sit straight. Opened eyes, you can watch me and do with me. Inhale nose. One inhalation only, okay? Now exhale mouth like this. With sound a little bit, but make your exhalation longer. And try to extend your exhalation. While you exhale, longer, feel which part of the chest you use more. Again, nose inhale. Now, next time when I say to exhale, you think of your chest. Which part of the lungs, which part of the body you feel more. Start exhaling. Keep doing, keep doing. Do with effort. You will notice the lower chest. You see that? Inhalation again, nose. Now start exhaling again consciously. You will not feel upper. You will feel something is there in the bottom ribs. Pressure is there. Keep extending. Normal exhale. After normal exhale, you have to keep exhaling. You will see lower lungs. Open the eyes. Tell me, is it right? You feel that? So more you do few rounds, you will reach here, which I'm showing the slide. That's why exhalation comes first, because this is first is a requirement for you. You need to train this first. That's why inhalation you don't start, because inhalation is here. If you start your pranayama with inhalation, you will use here. This is activation. This activates, and that activates means rajas activates, unstable, kshipta state, fluctuated. That's why we start with exhalation, because exhalation target here. Breath becomes slow and heavy. So next time when you do, this is what you have to do. The first step of, and that's called the first step of yogic breath. How shift happens, this is a technique. And this is called breath of yogis, because after some time, breath doesn't obey to emotion, breath doesn't obey to thoughts, breath doesn't obey. That exhalation will take you there. Breath doesn't obey to circumstances. Instead, follows the awareness, follows the presence, follows the rhythm, inner rhythm. With few exhalation, you don't require this nostril inhalation. In a few videos, those who didn't see the video, those who are with me, I said one statement few times. Nadi Shodhan right now we are doing with the hands. Anulom Vilom we are doing with the hands, right? This. You know, some of the Upanishads based on pranayama, tantric scriptures on yoga based on pranayama explains Nadi Shodhan pranayam or such kind of breathing pranayam is how? Not by nose. When it says close the nose, it says consciously not closing the nose. Right now we are using the hands because I know that if I don't use my hands and if I will be told to breathe from the left, I definitely will breathe from the both. Right? True? If I ask you to do Nadi Shodhan, you have to close your right nose. Then only you will breathe from the one nose. But that's the Hatha Yoga explanation. Hatha Yoga is more simplified version of yoga. Means the techniques, more modifications. But if you will go a little bit back in the past, the scriptures on the old pranic practices and the guru to guru, you'll notice that actually such kind of techniques, there's no hands. As I said, minimum efforts is required. Hands are not used. Just the awareness. That's why I said you sharpen the awareness. Just by thinking of the left nose breathing will flow. Right will not even breathe. Right now, it's impossible for people even to imagine how it is possible. But this is possible. It's the same like how it is possible there are many bacteria around me. But if I bring some special gadgets to see, oh my God, even in your water there are so many things, how to so that happens when we are reaching to that subtle level, when you experience. For example, for many people, how the 7 chakras, how to imagine, so people want to see in the spine there are chakras. Where the spine? It's not in the spine. You need to go to that dimension. Sometimes this eye is not having that kind of power to see those things. That's why we have third eye, which is called Divya Drishti, spatial eyes for that. And that happens when the awareness is sharp. So for example, Nadi Shodhan happens without using the hands. But for that, you have to first master this technique, which I'm giving you. So later, for yogi, our breath is nostril breathing. We live with the nostril breathing. If we close the nose, suffocation. We cannot survive if there's no nose. But if the yogic breath flows with the spine, why we imagine in advanced technique or in meditation, visualize the spine and think that energy is moving from the spine, chakras are there, penetration happening. Why? Because the prana actually flows through the spinal column, not on the spine, but in that center point. Prana lives there, breath lives on the nose. So your breath will be limited until we will be depending on that nose. That's why we are breathing kumbhak. That's why we are mastering kumbhak. That's why pranayam ultimate goal is kumbhak. Once you master the kumbhak, now the path will change. Prana no more require nostril much. It will flow through the spine, penetrates the chakra, which is the ultimate goal of ayama, the pranic things. Lungs are no more required. You will not be dependent on lungs. There was one experiment in Himalayan yogi long time back, Swami Rama in Rishikesh. So he had a mastery. You can read his book written Living with Himalayan Master, Living with Himalayan Yogis. He has written many books on pranayam, yogic breath. So what he had a mastery on, once he just was in shavasana, and many scientists, they came to check his pulse, his body. So according to the machine, he was dead. And breathing, there was no lungs response. Lungs were not expanding. There was no much. But later, after a few minutes, he woke up again. So that was experiment on him, how someone can make their breath that much quiet, subtle, that even there's no physical response. It means the lungs no more. And if you see, our lungs needs to go pump forward, backward. That's why we are doing all the bhastrika pump, so to feel that we have a lungs. Lungs are not only for pranic flow, lungs are no more required. For breath flow, it is required. So for yogis, when we say yogic breath, for them, lungs are no more required. They don't breathe through the lungs only. It goes different. It goes through the spine because prana is traveling there, not only the breath. Life begins when this happens. So for yogis, it's about the conscious triangle, this one. Right now, our emotions, yogis, emotions and prana both goes together with a purpose. Our both goes to different direction. Emotions take us away from the purpose. it is triggered. And then prana, because the energy which needs to take you to the purpose, it goes opposite. This one is not for now, but just to understand that this is how yogis they live. Emotion and prana goes together to purpose. Emotion must move towards purpose. Your dharma with the right flow of prana, that's different. Okay. How your breath becomes a pranic breath? Start working with all the techniques I gave to you. Conscious breath can turn your ordinary breath to the yogic breath. It is not through the lungs, it is through the spine. So, for example, all the previous technique, like I told you, start with exhalation. Train your lower lungs first. When you do any kind of pranic technique, stop where you feel that you are forcing yourself to do, where you feel that you are triggered or your ego wants just complete the techniques. Don't do all these things. It becomes impure. It makes your prana impure. Remember in the one slide, I showed you impure prana. So it becomes impure. You first make your mind sattvic. And sattvic mind required a certain awareness practices like exhalation more, few more techniques like in breath detox and pran aram. We are teaching, trying to master these basic techniques to, and imagine the spine. Practice one technique you can all do from tomorrow. There's one practice called Kaya Nyas. Just imagine the physical body, how exhalation happens from up to down and down to up. This kind of techniques helps you to purify the mind, make your mind sattvic, awareness is sharp, and then you start doing the pranic technique. And start working one more technique. See, start aligning your breath with the moon cycle. This is very important. For every pranayama practitioner should do this, or every yogic practitioner should do this. For example, there will be new moon, okay? Or there will be full moon. Let's start with the new moon. Now the new moon will come, or the full moon will come. I'll tell both. Start practicing every day one technique. For example, today is new moon at night. Next day of new moon, the first day after new moon, when the moon is rising, the first practice or only the practice that day, start doing left nostril breathing. For example, you close the one nose like this, same, and start breathing Chandrabhedi Pranayam with speed a little bit. So inhalation with the speed, exhalation with the right nostril. Inhale, exhale. This is the first technique we will do. First 3 days. So if your breath is aligned with this moon cycle, this is the first step for making your breath connected to the sun and moon. So that's the first step that every yoga practitioner Okay, I'm here. Did you see the slide when I'm explaining about the technique? Did you see everyone? The slide? This one? You were here, right? Yeah. So I was saying you that start practicing after new moon. First 3 days, practice Chandrabhedi Pranayam. This is the first step for you after exhalation. So 2 techniques everyone should do every day. Now see, we can write this technique. After new moon, the first 3 days, you practice 2 techniques to master, to make your breath a little bit better. Exhalation, like I said before, how to use the exhalation longer with the mouth, make as long as possible, at least for 10 times. After that, do left nostril breathing. Inhalation will be faster, exhalation is slower. So this you can do 10 times. These 2 techniques are the technique which makes your breath aligned with the cosmic breath. But before that, you have to align with this planet moon. Moon is responsible for mental stability. And practicing these 2 techniques makes your mind stable as well as the prana. So this is what you will do. And later the sun work. Right now, just moon work. Through the moon, there's a one scripture called Swar Yoga. You can also buy this book. It's called Swar Yoga. I had a webinar on this Swara Yoga. Swara Yoga is all about this moon, how the breath has to be aligned with the moon. Then we have another scripture, sun. Right now, this scripture is very popular today's time, Swar. So you can read maybe if you want, just for extra information. But this is how you will, techniques are not given there how to do, but the explanation, the philosophy, how the moon influence your breath, how the breath can influence the moon within you. You are also sun and moon, right? You also Ida and Pingala. You also have that solar and lunar energy. If the solar is awakened, you'll be more physically in the world. If lunar, you're more mentally resting and all these things. So 2 techniques, exhalation and moon, start doing it. First 3 days, left nostril breathing. After that, all right nostril breathing. These are the 2 techniques that everyone should do every morning if your breath is not trained and you want to start with. Clear, everyone? Yes, raise a thumb. And all other techniques, you must go with a proper system. Do pran aram. This is already there. This is not, you don't need to be live for that. You can just have a recorded session available. It's in the website of Yoga Vidya. Okay, so this is how the whole webinar was. I believe that you understood a little bit, something about the subject, something about the prana, something about the ordinary breath. Don't ask question here, just write me. Okay, everyone can write here to your questions so I can just address them. But thank you for all this. Now you can write. If someone have not sun work right now, just a moon first. Sun comes later. First you align with the moon. Okay, start with these 2 practices. When I become conscious of my breathing, I yawn. Tears comes out of no problem. No problem. Yawning comes because the breath is not that deep. It means start practicing like exhalation types of pranayama. And after exhalation, hold the breath. Practice this technique, okay? Samyam. Samyam means, see, what is Samyam? Someone is asking, what is Samyama? How it is specific to breath work? First of all, I didn't say Samyama, I said Samavritti. But still, if you're asking Samyam, Samyam means when you are fully there, what you are doing, when you're present there, when you are fully aware, sajag, that's called Samyam. Every action you know comes under Samyama. Okay, Trayame Katra Samyama. Yoga explained different Samyam. 3 things, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi is a Samyam. So Samyam means what? Samyam means when dharana, what you are doing, you are very focused on it. Dharana. Dhyan, you are meditating on it. Every action you know, you are aware, conscious. Samadhi leads to that purpose. That calls Samyama. According to Yoga Sutra. Trayam ekatra, 3 things. Trayam, 3. Ekatva, together. Samyama. Dhyan, dharana, samadhi means being present moment. And you know that you are at present moment, Samyam. Every day can be Samyam. How to join yoga for healing hands master? Start working with the pran aram first, then all other techniques, okay? What is the first step you can do when you feel suffocated already? The first step when you do suffocated, start exhalation. Do exhalation. You can focus even in Anulom Vilom, you start focus on exhalation. For example, Anulom Vilom is not always one inhale, other exhale. Anulom Vilom has many techniques, okay? The first technique which we do usually, which is called Samavritti techniques. Basically, we inhale left, same amount we exhale right. When it comes to your state, when you feel suffocated, you do Anulom Vilom, but inhalation is natural, but exhalation is longer. This will help you. Chandrabhedi with the new moon. Yes, Chandrabhedi with the new moon first 3 days. After that, all Suri Bhedi until the next new moon will come. Okay. How long? 10 times each. When do we start breathing with the moon? New moon. Start practicing pranayama with the new moon. How much time start with the breathing with the sun? Usually, when sunrise start, the breathing time, the practice time is after sunrise. At least within 1 hour after sunrise, you should start. What is this technique about breath? It's called Kaya Nyas, visualizing the whole Kaya, the spine or the body. Okay. If we have done Pranic Purification and are practicing daily, should we still do the 2 lunar practices? No, you do Pranic. Those who are doing Pranic Purification, you do Pranic Purification. Okay. Those who have done Pranic Purification, especially part 2, you do the same technique what you are doing. Moon work only. Yes. Pingla is weak. My Pingla is weak. Ida is too strong. Please, how to balance effectively? You must learn first the proper regular technique for few months. All the techniques of, if you didn't join Pranaram, try that and practice all the technique together every day. And then you join Pranic Purification 1, because there we are working on these things. Right now, just practice Suri Bhedi Pranayam with the time. It will work. Okay. Why do I feel swallowing, gulping after a few rounds of pranayam? It happens. It happens that sometimes it happens when you are breathing. It will go. That's a part of the journey. Don't lift your head too much up. When you feel something like swallowing saliva or gulping like this, drop the chin down. Do practice. Have you seen sometime practicing like this? Do dropping chin down. Not every day, sometimes. Okay. Should we exhale through the mouth? Assume that we encourage breath only via nose. Inhalation nose, but exhalation can be mouth. So don't worry about that, okay? Don't inhale from the mouth. Pranayam to do morning or evening. Pranayam you can do in the morning. All the pranic practice and every yoga practice, try in the morning. Stressful situation during the day, what type of breathing can we do? Any time when you feel stretched, few breathing is only there. First of all, Anulom Vilom is a must every day. You can do it right away. Second, stressful Chandrabhedi Pranayam. Left nostril inhale, right nostril exhale. Second practice. Third is Ujjayi. 3 things you do every day. Okay. Whenever you feel stressed, anxiety, or low energy kind of things, or depressed, or motivation, try these 3 things. Inhale first Anulom Vilom few rounds, starting with the 5, then 5 rounds of Chandrabhedi, then you do Ujjayi Pranayam. Okay. How to control the mind? Practice yoga every day. Asana,
Sir,
pranayam.
please answer my question.
Wait. Right question, please, here.
Sir, I have
Not,
written in Q&A.
don't worry. For nose, I'm able to. What's the breast breathing technique? Thyroid. For thyroid, see, first not breathing. For thyroid, you should start asana first. That's more effective. Practice inversions. Practice your Matsyasana. Practice Jalandhar Bandh a little bit. Practice Viparit Karni. Stay longer, minimum 2-3 minutes. Asanas are more effective. When you work with the physical body, start with asana. Okay, if you want to change something physically. So, can you please share about the certification? Certification course, you must finish Pranic Purification Part 2. Not for everyone. Those who want to do certification course, there's a journey I showed. Starting from the breath detox goes to the pranic aram, and then you go for pranic purification 1, then 2, then certification. So those who have done only pranic purification part 2, which is going to come, then only certification. Okay, and for that you have to do pranic purification part 1, and there's a teacher training already you should have. Certification is February, but everything is written there in the website. But still, those who have any question regarding any course, you can write the mail. Any types of course that you are having any question, you can write. They will help you to go deeper. For sleep, practice in a night anulom vilom. Don't practice left nostril because the temperature will change. What is the difference between Nadi Shodhan and Anulom Vilom? These are the videos everywhere. Nadi Shodhan Pranayama means Shodhan, it's a Shodhan Kriya, Shodhan practice, purification. Purification, as I said, require what? Fire. Fire is generated with what? Two things. Either you hit like Kapalbhati, but Nadi Shodhan you cannot hit. So hold. So Nadi Shodhan, see the name Shodhan, you purify, means fire. And fire means two things. Like I said, Kapalbhati or hold. That's why you're holding Nadi Shodhan. Anulom Vilom, Vilom Vritti. I'm here. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yes. Thank you. Okay. So see, any question regarding you have, you can write in the mail regarding any practice. Mention the name if you have specific questions for me, because not every questions here, because many questions are already repeated, hard to take. But still, we'll be having few webinars also in the future and many live for addressing the questions. Stay in touch with school and the group. So many updates which will come, you will receive them. So we will end here. Any other questions you can write in the mail, okay? More related to class and practices that you want to ask. For now, we will end here. Is it clear, everyone, with me? Yes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
and
you, sir.
I believe that you have a little clarity on this subject. I'll see you again in next another webinar. Take care and
Thank you very much.
keep practicing.
धन्यवाद